Well, this is the home here at 302 East Van Buren Street, Paris, Illinois. There's where I've been sitting down, and here's, see, the light works. I've got Grandma Nicholson and my sombrero. And there's the planet Pluto and the Thunderbirds. And I've got my airplane wing that I built, and HO model railroads. I've got a game that came from London, England, called Trader's Gate. It's daydream entertainment software. You pretend that you're trying to heist the crown jewels or something from a castle or something in the royal palace in London, England. See my kitchen. Here's my med tray. Over here's, I put the American flag up, and I've got the Earth and moon image I took. I'll turn the bright lights on up here. See, I've got two lights, one there. I've got a third one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I've got an 8th light there in the middle that this switch here controls. And then here's my Measure 51 and Andromeda. Those images. There's the Space Shuttle Challenger. And then in my bedroom here, I've got the Space Shuttle Atlantis and the Porsche photo. I'm gonna go ahead and tell it to publish this one here. I've got my Messier poster chart, and I've got a statue of Mickey Mouse. Mine here has the bung in the bottom of it to keep the coinage inside of it. Of course, it's got the slot in the back there of the head for the, I've got an air horn. It's loud. I don't know if I'll set it off. My ears would be ringing maybe. I've got 2 Christmas LPs. One's Bell Music, and then the other one is Christmas Becomes Electric, the Moog synthesizer machine, the Moog machine. So here's my list of constellations I know: Ursa Minor, Ursa Major, Orion, Canis Major, Canis Minor, Bootes, Pegasus, Andromeda, Auriga, Lyra, Cygnus, Aquila, Gemini, Scorpius, Sagittarius. Here's star names I know: Arcturus, Denebola, Alnitak, Alnilam, Mantica, Betelgeuse, Rigel, Sirius, Mizar, Dubhe, Epsilon, Lyra, Procyon, Regulus, Polaris, Kochab, and Deneb, Capella, Alcyon, Electra, Spica, Vega, Altair, Antares, Aldebaran, and Sigma Octanus. Well, I've got this chair there. Here's my refrigerator. We got some chicken drumsticks, some lentils in the pot, a number of milks. I have more milk than usual, and I have a thing of fruit and some orange juice. And this is sourdough bread and Millie's bread. I have more groceries than usual because I had gotten somehow more upgraded. I've got Chicago Meat House ground beef and some chicken in there in the freezer, and also some wild blueberries, but they're getting old. And here's my corn flakes. I poured me a bowl. But here's the 80 volt electric mower battery. I've been mostly mowing the grass, but a couple of times some other guy invested in mine. That's my radio. I've got Joni Lamb, Marcus Lamb's wife's book. In the bathroom here, I can turn the light on. I've got two lights in it, one there and one over here. I've got the same two photos that I had in that washer dryer room at Klinger Lake Road in Michigan. Then I've got the 10 Commandments plaque there. You can see multiple images of my multiple images there. I aimed it at the mirror in director's view. There's looking to the east and northeast. There's a bright light at night in that direction. This home is going to be the brightest for light pollution that it ever has been so far since I've been having observatories, and I plan, hopefully, God bless. that I have an observatory here also. That'll be my third observatory, but when I do, I'll just have to be nice, and this will be my first time living in a city doing astrophotography. Hope everything's gonna be alright. You know, have to abide by the law, and a little bit, I'm a little worried about if for the first time I'm going to have to be worried that I don't do public urination, and I don't know if I should I can't apparently bring a urinal out to the observatory shed, and I mean, this is a city region. I looked it up on silly little internet. I know I said I was going to call the courthouse and make sure one of the humans there would have had more righteous wisdom. But I mean, I'm gonna be 50 years old, and I've got some form of incontinence starting, so that when I get an urge to urinate, I just have to go. And I don't know what to do, you know, because there's a big concrete ledge and things to trip over there, and I'd have to run to get into the home. I'd be peeing my pants and underwear, have to change. Here in Paris, there's also, besides me who'd be breaking the law with public urination, there's what they call twinkers, and they do drugs, and I don't mean to be negative, but I guess I've been a little bit concerned in trying to work around it, see if there's a way I could use some anti-theft, because I'm concerned about somebody breaking into my observatory once I get but you know, because I'm really more importantly worried about people stealing my stuff, you know. Maybe I say too much, and you're only supposed to talk about the positive. Here's a photo of my mom. She's nice and beautiful. And this coming 26th of June, my sister and her husband, Donald Chambers, the Christian, 73-year-old black man, husband of hers from South Bend, will be coming down here, and one of the goal missions is to get my Jeep's title switched over and get license plates for my Jeep. I say plates plural because here in Illinois you have one on not only the back but the front also. I think it's similar that some of the time or all the time in Wisconsin they want them to have them on both also. And also the title for the first time here will be an electronic thing. That's what they do. Illinois. So maybe I say too much. But we're going to have an official meeting, and that's coming up. I still pace around here. I cleaned the center of the floor here so I could walk around it here. But other than that, we're trying to save money, and this jointly serves as this whole home as a storage unit. We're saving 100 to 130 somewhere in there dollars per month, not renting storage of a 10-foot by 20-foot storage. We had rented one up in near Bremen, Indiana for about a year, and it accrued a value price of like over $1,000, maybe 1,400 or 1,300. It was about $117 per month. So also that I'm down here in Paris, I get Meals on Wheels, a double portion from Horizon Health, which is the name of the Paris Community Hospital, or something like that. And then also I go and get a handout down on the Cherry Point Road to the northwest of town of Paris, and I get Compassionate Food Pantry. But we're blessed, and this is a real blessing. Oh, by the way, I've got these two PCs. The older one here is a 32-bit, an HP Pavilion 522N. And then this one must have a dual core and about 1.8 gigahertz. Yeah, 1.8 gigahertz. But the Instore 530 here has like quad core, and it's closer to i5, or is i5. And the 530, I've got an old Form CS2 of a Photoshop program on it. I have Gradient Exterminator and lavish green operating on that old Photoshop. On that newer computer, the one on the right, the Inspron, but on the old 32-bit, I'm able to play some games on it. Like it's got Epic Pinball that's partly functional. It's got a newfangled pinball game that is totally functional, sort of simplified pinball. It's got Doom and Civilization, and if we got it fixed on it, I could get the functional 3.5-inch floppy drive functional on it. It has I have like 12 or 14 CD players, whether they're DVD or CD-ROM or just CD. This one says CD writer, and this is DVD ROM, and this has, you know, a player, CD player, and I've got a 3-disc player in my Iowa over here, and I've got 3 CD drives over here with the Vizio P series 55-inch 4K flat screen smart TV. I've got a Blu-ray 4K so it can play also 2K Blu-ray, regular DVD, and CD audio, and then I've got a VHS and DVD and CD player, and then I've got a Blu-ray 2K player which can also do DVD and CD audio. So the most advanced one there, the 4K Blu-ray, can do all 4 types of CD. Then I've got a CD player in this 8950. I've got a CD player that's a Walkman. I've got a CD player in this Gateway laptop. I've got other CD players. I've got one CD player that's just a single CD player in my Jeep. And then I've got a CD player in this thing that was my dad's, and another CD player in this boob tube jam box thing here. Up here, this is my only boob tube. It still can play analog stations, but you know, there's not very much that really broadcasts in analog anymore. They've gone digital. So also I could play it if I had batteries or found out what power adapter it uses to operate it with. But yeah, before we had moved from 105 Beechwood, and a few years earlier I had a second boob tube device. They call them boob tube, but they're also a CRT. They're known as cathode ray tube, and that was my Heathkit oscilloscope. But I've sold that one, and it's gone away. Here's Lee Mace's Ozark Opry, 25 years. It was signed by Bill Atterbury Cooper. And then I've got Backbeat. And I've got Freddie Bender, Floyd Kramer, Class of 71. You know, this is my grandma, like I explained. She's the mother of my mother. She's known as Olive Oline Nicholson, but she went by her middle name, Oline, and she's the youngest sibling to Aunt Clara Bell, B-E-L-L, maybe E-F-N, Nicholson, who was my mom's blood aunt who had married Roy Dudley Meriwether. Well, one aunt of my mom's and my grandaunt of mine who was in between in age. This lady who's my grandmother is the youngest of the siblings, and Aunt Clara was the oldest of the siblings, but in between there was an Aunt Esther who lived to be 100-something, and one of her ex-husbands had jointly discovered the Marengo Cave in southern Indiana. Yeah, it's an interesting but true story. Aunt Esther's ex-husband was like a hand spire, I think, and it's possible to look it up and see that it's the truth. Yeah, one time Lisa and us, we had gone down there to Marengo Cave, and we had proven our ancestry, and we got a reduction or something on ticket price to go see the cave, because they looked us up, and I guess they found it was true, that we are related. At that moment, we had one lady up one rung was still alive. My mom had gone with us. Nowadays, if I were just going, I don't know if I would be able to get a reduction. Like, Mom was the niece of Aunt Esther, and I'm the grandnephew of Aunt Esther. Well, over here we have measure 101, and you can see some pretty galaxies, and there's another little spiral, a galaxy here. Oh, here it is. See, there's another pretty little spiral galaxy up there, as well as the big one there. Well, I've got to go. This is starting to become my third or fourth or something longest movie. Almost have taken at least about like the 10th or something longest movie, except for the camcorder footage I'd ever taken. Some of that lasted for about an hour. But see these, see it says 68 up there, and I've got this controller. See if we can turn it down colder. And you can see up there that it went down to 64, like it shows there. And it's feeling more comfortable in here. It's getting cooler. But these are heat pumps, and I had put some duct tape over the digits on there because they were so bright at night that I would never be able to sleep. And this one I haven't affected, but it's pretty neat. You know, this home doesn't have central air, you know, duct work. It only has a crawl space. And I know I went on my Facebook or something into a long discussion trying to describe exactly the rooms when you went in, but this is the south door, and I have my Jeep out there right now. This window on the south, you can see it looks kind of milky and cloudy there. Well, if you could zoom in, you'd see that those are little water bubbles, and the thermal pane has lost its seal. See, it does it to this window also, and a little less to this window, and also a little bit it does to this window. See, you can, I don't know if you can see that at the top, but there's some of the moisture on it. You can see the moisture on it's inside the two panes of glass, and I like it cooler, but maybe the cool temperature in here and the warm moist air outside, it condenses on one side or the other. But so I've never lived a whole winter here before, but at the end of this year I'll be staying a whole winter here. And the heat on these heat pumps, they can get to 86, they say, when you crank them up. But my experience in February winter earlier this year was they put out some heat, but hopefully we make it through the coldest of winters. Also, the carport is here. I made my Jeep make it through the winter staying at Bremen Inn. I would get out and clean snow off and start it once in a while. Well, here, keeping it under the carport, it would save getting snow on it. And we might have, for all I know, I don't know if we're gonna have big snow. We might, I don't know. But some people around here go to the Rural King up north. There's also Poole's Hardware, where a lady, Mrs. Poole, I think Gary Poole's mom, she taught social problems class, and she's still alive. She was a little bit younger than my mom, and she, I heard, still runs the Poole's Hardware. But there's Rural King also, and Rural King, I heard they sell the buckets of ice melter, like salt, and a little scooper inside the bucket that you can scatter it with. So I'm probably gonna need something like that. But why don't I come out here? I'll show you out on the front patio. See, I put already pretty down my little bag of ice melter, preparing for another year. But see, there's screen here on the left, but there's no screen here on the right. You can see the wind blew it open, but I've got screen throughout here and screen on the front door. I need to latch then I've got my mailbox. There's currently no mail in it. I put duct tape over it that was kind of hard and sharp. I fixed it up. Got my wind chimes. See, it's amazing grace how sweet the sound. And it says it on the other side too. well, it's got a wreath holder nail there, and it's got 3 windows across and 3 at the top, so 6 little frosted windows in top part of that was the north door. You can see also that here in the middle I've got a mirror here, and I've got a mirror back over there in the bathroom there and here, and you can get a multiple image going back and forth. But see, we're planning on, here's the deck on the back, and see it says, "Hey, good looking." But we're planning, there's a planner here with the flag, but we're planning on putting the observatory somewhere here in between the back here where it's the laundry room on the inside, and out there we're just gonna run power with time. They're gonna even do a under the ground power job and get a cable out there, but we're trying to save money. I don't know how many thousand I have left. I figure it could be 12, it could be as less as 10,000, but that's all I really mainly care about. Takes priority more than even if I could a better telescope. But I don't think my sister's willing to do that. She sees needs as important, and this observatory she's understood. And I shouldn't brag on that because I don't want her to fail me. I know God is the greatest, and she knows he ought to supposed to come infinitely first and stuff. So, but like an observatory does multiple things, it basically lets you be polar aligned, and then it prevents theft and vandalization and ailments of the weather deteriorating it, and multiple things like that. And you can be set up so that when you have power out there, you just open your roof or open a slit if it's another type of observer and turn the power on and get ready, and you have a clear night of some sky that you can do, and it's dark or the situation with the item up in the sky, then you can just immediately go to town with it. And we like that better, and I've liked that better. And when you have bigger telescopes and big mount, I know that recently I got my Dr. Wu psychiatrist, and I'm not used to this, having both a real doctor for physical health and a real doctor psychiatric for my mental health, because back when we were in northern Indiana, I didn't at the end have a real doctor for either one. I had a nurse practitioner for both, and also my Pam Schwartz nurse practitioner for my mental health. She was more Christian, I think. So I was a little retardo, belated, to actually ask the Oriental doctor, Dr. Wu, W, if he was Christian. And then in hindsight, when I called the receptionist lady and said, I wish he would be Christian, and I was even gonna ask her that she would have a conversation, say whether he was Christian or not. She said, no, wait a minute, that's illegal. She said, it's discrimination. Yeah, I know. I need to stop talking about this, but because I'm weaving a tangled web kind of thing. And, you know, you gotta be positive when you're more positive, and we gotta celebrate. Come on, celebrate. What was that song that... Come on and celebrate good times. Come on and celebrate. Celebrate good times. Come on. Earlier today, a black lady, I didn't know her name. She probably told her name, but I think I forgot. But she came to do a small-time physical health check on me. And I kind of liked her. She was an umpteenth kind of person to set foot in this home while I've been here. Earlier there was James C. Wallace II, then Tony and Andy Kirby, and someone else too, I forgot. And then this lady, and I think Andy Kirby or one of them, but you see, Andy Kirby is kind of conservative, and his full name is Andy Shane Joseph Kirby, but he has those four names, and he sort of says he celebrates bullets and Bible or something, but I think he ought to say Bible and bullets. But he's a conservative, and they're typically conservative around here, or they are. It's a predominant form of government that Illinois has, and there are, I think Illinois is the first or second or something, like maybe the very first state in the United States to have the total number of nuclear power plants. It's just that in the program Simpsons, you know, the cartoon thing, they made it look like the capital of Illinois, Springfield, had an actual power plant. I don't think they do. I'm not 100%. But I looked up a map of them, and I saw there's ones listed that aren't really nuclear. There's coal plants, and there's some renewable also. See, over here I have my growing up with science, and then supplement set over here, and it continues over there. And then I've got sky and telescope up to about here, and then it continues with astronomy magazine, and then it picks up astronomy magazine there to somewhere in there. And then I've got some miscellaneous magazines, and some miscellaneous magazines also in here, and some presidential and government things. And then over here I've got some plane and pilot. I've got some aviation magazines, plane and pilot and flying magazine, Kit Planes magazine. I've got multiple Kit Planes magazines, 4 of them in fact, or I guess even a 5th one or something. But they talk about an RV airplane. It means recreational vehicle. Here's Flying magazine, a helicopter on. But also, I've had one magazine of RC airplane magazine, RC model. I think it's RC something magazine. Anyway, I've got to go. This is a real long one. You know, you can enter the metal garage over there on the side and rolls up, and then over there is my old dilapidated garage. It's not totally good, but I've been mowing all the mowing jobs here since mowing season began, except for the recent 2 ones, except I did partial job on the last one, and I don't know what to do because I need a rider lawnmower real bad. I mean, something that cuts a wider swath than only 21 inches in this 80-volt electric battery powered mower. It's like a quarter of an acre, but there's a lot of yard out there, and it's difficult, and I'm going on 50 years old. Of course, my sister is 11 years older, but she thinks that I should be able to do it, and that, you know, it will increase my physical health doing the exercises. And I'll turn that light on and then turn these off. And then you can see this. Well, I've got to go, so bye.